these teams come up with coming up.
There's going to be a little bit of weird science, perhaps, in this next map. We're just getting everything in the lobby straightened out. And obviously, you are watching the Australian Amateur Overwatch League, and their fourth season. We are in week number 6. And my name is Justin, aka Cyberwest, and my co-caster, the very knowledgeable co-caster, has been Blackburn. We hope you've been enjoying our company. And
just coming out that Nepal match, do you see any actually standout people coming in from any of the teams? Actually, any weak links, any actual top performers? I think coming in um, Meds from Team Spicy really using that using the Orisa fairly efficiently, coordinating with the Roadhog to get the pulls, pushing them back, and just outputting a serious amount of damage to just continuously get that ultimate up as fast as he can.
indeed, and especially on that first point of Sanctum, which was on stream, the usage of the Halt as well as the Hog from Hawkeye. Hawkeye's my standout personally, because I'm just a sucker for Roadhogs. What can I say? But the usage of the Halt from Meds to drop one key member into the pit and basically send the entire team of Salabim into disarray. So that's my standout.
Alright, then. Now, moving on to Team Salabim, do you see any of their teammates actually being, let's say, out of position a bit too much? I think Tritter, who was playing Reaper on the village part of Nepal, a bit disconnected from the rest of his team. Generally, Reaper, you want to be behind that Rhine shield, getting up close and actually picking off, and sometimes diving with your, sometimes setting up so that everyone can drop on the same person. But what I saw was Tridor going in by himself, fighting Anna with the Orisa, and basically just getting one kill, but instead also just getting picked off, while the point is still under the blue team, and that's just man disadvantage. If not, he's just trying to get to the point, trying to pull them back, but no one is actually retreating back, whereas Meds just decides to just push and get the 6v5, get the kill, then follow back and then get Tridor. So a bit of a disconnect, I think, Tridor playing with his team, as far as I saw from that Nepal map.
Was a bit of a trend from him, especially as you said on the Reaper. He would just sort of go willy nilly, almost playing the lone wolf, as it were, trying to basically get a pick, but not being able to fall back effectively. He'd take out one, sure, but then he'd end up getting collapsed upon by the rest of the opposition, and that would just be an asset that you can't resurrect because, as you say, he just ended up going out on his own, and he just got just purely outclassed, and that's something that he may need to have a look at and work on in the future.
Hopefully it goes better on this hybrid map. Generally, hybrid maps are a lot less pressure compared to King of the Hill, because just capping the point and just letting that tick go continuously upwards does put a lot of pressure on teams. Generally, the number of fights you have on those type of maps are averaging between 3, 4, 5-ish, whereas on hybrid maps and payloads, hybrid maps, 2CPs, payloads, you can average more than 5, 6, 7 fights. So a lot more brawling should be coming up quite soon with this map, and hopefully we see a lot better results coming out of Team Salabim.
Yeah, they didn't really have a chance to show their wares, as it were. Just constantly getting shut out. They got the first point on Nepal for like 20% or 25%, as it were, but they just ended up falling flat. And as soon as it ticked over, they weren't able to mount a proper attack, as you obviously saw. We're just having a little bit of a delay in the server settings because it's been a little bit finicky. But we have gotten the call to go. We are being sent to the second map, the Land of Harmony, known as Numbani. And if I remember the chat correctly, we are seeing the side of Team Spicy attack first.
All right.
They'll be begin to assemble their heroes. Actually,
Well,
let's. I want to ask. I want to propose a question to you. What do you think is in the capsule that's on the payload now? Because remember, it was Doomfist Gauntlet, and then
yep.
that got broken. What do you think's in there now?
I'm guessing something from the creator of Orisa. Probably something that she's trying to transport somewhat, as far as the lore would show. Aside from that, it's basically anyone's guess. But another thing that's backing up my theory that is something from Efi did create is the fact that in Defender Spawn, where you finish the third point, there is the Orisa bongos over there. Now I'm not sure whether or not that's the actual Orisa bongo or it's just a musical item, but perhaps something of that sort of
I
significance.
lived as well as I lived because it cannot be
Perhaps.
avoided.
Yeah, it does have a large tie-in, especially if you add the history of building the OR-15s and repurposing them for the forces of good. But we have enough time to stall. We're about to roll out. We're going down to the 5-second countdown, and the team of Terribly Spicy will be on deck, both from the ground and the air, with South Spoon on the Soldier and Hasanen on the Farah.
Fairly interesting defense coming out of the blue team right now. They're choosing to go on just staying on the point itself rather than actually utilizing the high ground. Red team is starting to go for a more back sort of season 2, season 3 sort of comp. Just go through the right side with the Reinhardt and the Zarya and try to push them off in right now.
And there goes Hawkey, coming in with authority, taking out Trino and his Junkrat. Bonnie is the only person to reply by taking out the Reinhardt. But it looks to be basically a tussle, which is tipping further and further in favor of Terribly Spicy, with Gianna and Hasanen contributing frags, and South Spoon will knock out Bonnie. And it looks like the first point has fallen in quick order to Terribly Spicy. And Sim Salabim, they'll be calling for all the assistance of Johnny Quest and his compatriots to try and get a defense up, because that was basically them going silent right after the first pick.
Fairly interesting changes coming out of the team, coming out of the red team. You can see Hawkeye now taking control of that main tank role, whereas previously under Paul Met playing that role actually. And right now, the blue team still sticking with a similar composition that they ran on the first base defense, but with the red team having the air superiority, Trino's going to have to pop off and actually kill Khaleesi, try and shut down that Pharah, so that they can continuously try to push. Because right now, Trino's the only one that can actually deal with it. Huge shadow coming out through, but Vision. So Flash just got the barrier up just in time, but will not stop the Pharah and the Zarya combo. Very old and tried true testament synergy between these two heroes. You've seen it since season 1 of Overwatch, and still performs very well to this day.
It has been tried and tested, as you saw there. And Hasanen will rain down a ton of justice on the defense of Sim Salabim, and it looks like we will get to the second checkpoint. Basically unscathed. They have 5 minutes 40 and some change. And they also have 2 altered pockets, that being the Tag Visor and the Valkyrie, so they can keep this train rolling if they so desire. The only people that have come close are Tridor and Fishbasher. Dead Roses has got one on deck now, but it looks like Team Salabim are unable to reply. The Transcendence will come out, but it is a little bit too late, with Demise and another compatriot and Fishbasher hit the deck. And it looks like Tridor will pull out the Tech Visor of his own, taking out Hasanen, but that will be all possible. Will drop Tridor. The Graviton Surge will come out from Team Salabim, and it will have no reply, and the Supercharger will go down.
Red team right now just lost their Reinhardt. They don't have that main tank, but they still have the chance to actually try and stabilize and try and push it, so long as they kill that Orisa fast enough. Bonnie currently going on the flank right now, and this should still be a hold for the blue team. Red team investing the Graviton Surge, getting 2 people, but no follow-up kills. As I said, that Asian Girl's getting taken out right. Asian Girl's getting taken out. No one that's healing for the side of the blue team. But Bonnie counters back, killing Gianna. Both sides using 1 support. But then Dead Rose comes in with the res. And should be Red Team 7-0, but no, they just killed Lendros. Red Team in the position to try and push this right now, so long as they can try and get the 2 tanks off the payload. And all the kills are going red right now. Hansen going in with that barrage, getting the picks. Junkrat trying to install it. He's gonna get taken out immediately, and a very fast push by Red Team.
Good lord. Terribly Spicy is a name that is ever so fitting right now because they have just over 4 minutes. They were basically uncontested that entire time, Blackbird, and it showed.
The main problem that came out of the blue team right now is that the constant use of the Orisa. Yes, Orisa is a very good hero, but to run it on that first point itself, you're giving up a lot of high ground, and the red team capitalized on that with the Pharah just raining shots down from above, no one being able to shoot her consistently and take her down, and it was an easy cap for the red team. Following up onto Street's phase, due to Orisa being quite the slow hero and being not very immobile, they only got one team fight off at the Streets phase, whereas you really want to be able to get 2 to 3, try to stall out that point. But unfortunately, it was only just one push. Coming into the third phase, there was a sign of hope for the blue team of actually holding it, but no, they did not have the necessary amount of burst damage to kill the red team before respawns came in, and they just snowballed it with the ultimates, with the barrage coming out, and well, kept the point in over 4 minutes.
Definitely a good sign for them if you have any friends or family in Team Spicy, or even if you just like potential stars of tomorrow. Team Spicy definitely did put on a show, and Meds actually fell off the edge of the map, the poor guy. I just wanted to see the foliage down there. But nonetheless, we will go into the attack now for Team Salabim. I just spectated the Brigitte being Tridor. I do not recommend it. He's going very, very fast around and it actually made me sick. But actually, this is the first Brigitte that we will see tonight, so hopefully the pick will actually pay off and we go into Team Salabim's first attack.
Mets should just have enough time to get up those staircases and hold it again. Both teams going up for the top right corner. Bonnie getting hooked immediately, not watching the surroundings. And red team could probably capitalize on this if they just actually push it and get the rest of their hands and going huge with a 5k on that Junkrat. Close quarters, throwing bombs, 120 damage each hit, splash damage, easy kills coming out.
They hit like a truck and it looked like an entire train line ran right through Team Salabim, and that was all on the back of Hassan. And he's already got the rip tire ready to go. Get ready to hear him say the signature phrase. But there could be a potential third on the point, but instead there is a potential pause, which has been called, or potentially moving upon someone either locking out or a substitution being made in the server, which is rather unorthodox.
One of the teams have been practicing with the new hero Hammond, but as of right now, Hammond is not legal to be played in competitive, and as such is not be able to play in the AAOL. So they're gonna have to switch it up. If they do switch it up right now, blue team running a very, very strange composition, running 2 very immobile heroes, running 3 immobile heroes, but having to dive with the Winston. They have a Roadhog, they have the McCree, they have the Brigitte, which just generally controls low ground territory, but you have that Winston that wants to dive in, and it's just not really working. Perhaps he's trying to pair it with the Hammond itself, but we'll never get to see that because it's not legal currently, unless maybe a change happens.
There's a little bit of clarification for the rules there. And yes, given Hammond is so new and not a lot is known about him, he's not able to be picked. Symmetry is, though, after a rework, so that was a little bit of a miscommunication for the rules, but Bonnie will move away, and now we wait and see. Who will he choose next?
Bonnie's still on. Bonnie going for that Diva, going for a triple tank sort of dive hybrid with the Roadhog and the Brigitte. A very, very weird sort of Strat coming out of blue team, but Trito seems to be asking for he said that was getting caught into that Junkrat trap, and there seems to be general discourse currently in the chat actually. Trito wants to get a restart because it wasn't clarified that Hammond was not be able to play, but oh, is it a joke? Oh, okay.
They're memeing about calling for a restart because one of the members did not know the rules. Do not joke around with an admin. He will actually try to throw you out. But there is 1/3 taken there by Sim Salabim already. The high ground will have to be seized. The Riptide will come out, will claim the Mercy of Asian Girl, and now the attackers are slowly being thinned away. What is the ejected from the mech, and Fishmasher has been sent to the bench, and Dead Roses has as well. And amongst all that, they did get a third on the side of Sim Salabim. That will be all they'll be able to muster. We're going just under 2 minutes. There is Primal Rage on deck for Dead Roses, but that will be just about it.
Now Trito is switching over to that Reinhardt, running a double main tank again with the Roadhog. No, he does switch over to the quadruple DPS comp with no healers, with a Roadhog and a Winston dive. I've never seen it.
Expect anything and everything in the Amateur League. We will see the Tech Visor coming out from South Spoon. We'll claim Asian Girl. Bonnie's the only person to reply, getting a headshot on a body shot into meds, but that'll be all they'll be able to muster. Running into 1 minute 20. And I think they are spinning the wheel on the side of Team Salafim. I've counted around 8 hero changes in the last minute and a half. And I don't know what to make of it, to be honest with you.
Fairly weird things coming out of the blue team. They're just so disorganized. They don't actually have a set comp. They're just running heroes that think would try to break the current stonewall that is the red team's Orisa combination. But nothing seems to be working. They're currently trying double sniper, but no main tank with the McCree. McCree has a Deadeye right now. Dead Roses making another switch, going over to that Farah right now, but without the Mercy. Just shown on the sky. The Mice just feeding right now, going onto the point. Asian Girl is dead as well. And I don't know, Cyber. I think Blue Team's sort of just given up right now. They're just running different heroes, no actual coordination, no synergy between the heroes. Southwood's just gonna shoot Dead Roses in the face. Without that Mercy healing, he's basically fish out of water. Haidu coming in, but they did get 2 picks. But without any sort of shield, Southwood's Tactical Visor will just clean up the point. No one be able to contest. Hanzo's gonna try and jump on, he immediately be killed, and that's, well, red team just capping the point.
It's definitely hot and spicy. A blazing attack and a defense with anything and everything in amongst it. And it looked like, I really hate to say it, but it does look like for the looks of the way that everybody played. Here's the play of the game from Accident. Very well earned. A ton of damage down the singular murder hole, and if you get smacked in the face with a Junkrat bomb, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt a lot. But dare I say it, it looked like Team Salabim had essentially given up after the miscommunication of Hammond not being tournament legal, and that was actually kind of disappointing, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Exactly, the Mice may have rage quit, but might have also just disconnected, thinking the game was done after just 2 maps. But no, we are going into the final map of Volskaya, and as far as it seems right now, Team Spicy continuously running that Orisa Hawk quite proficiently compared to the enemy team, and it seems that Salabim has no answer to that.
They tried it. They tried a whole lot. They basically threw a whole bunch of dice on the table and just tried to see what works. But with all that said and done, we've had a 2-0 map score thus far for Team Terribly Spicy, and it's basically been the one team banned, as it were, because Team Salabim, as talented as I have seen them, because I have seen their names in the past in other streams, they just haven't been all together today, and it's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, quite unfortunate on that Numbani map. Hopefully they pick themselves up, they dust off everything, and they go into the third map with a brand new sense of vigor. Now, even though as I said that Team Spicy has technically won the overall set, we still will go to the third map, and hopefully Salvin puts up a decent fight to try and at least get that 1 point, so it doesn't become a 3-0.
That'll be the thing that they are trying to avoid being swept out by Team Spicy, because, oh gosh, I'm just having the thought in my head of basically eating a chili-infused broom of sorts. And that's a really, really bad time, because it's going to be very, very hot and very, very spicy, especially if it's high on the Scoville index. We're just having the choice of side by, I believe it's Team Salabim who is on the call to make their choice, and they have chosen to attack. So we will see them roll out first.
Coming into Volskaya now, Volskaya is a fairly interesting sort of map. You've seen all three main tanks actually do proficiently well on this. You can run a dive, you can run the Reinhardt, you can run Orisa. Orisa being the current most picked as seen in the Overwatch League, with many teams during the playoff race, including Philadelphia Fusion, Boston Uprising, all running the Orisa to just attack onto first point and pump out enough damage that they are able to actually cap the point. So I'm guessing that's going to happen with coming up to Team Meds. But coming up from the red team, most likely they're going to try and run a Reinhardt Zarya. They seem to be proficient with that rather than the actual dive-based defense that many other actual players, including myself and my team, actually run. So it'll be quite interesting to see how they are going to adapt to this in the third map after seeing their opponent playing that Orisa Hog for 2 times now.
Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna keep working, why change? That's all that needs to be said. And on the blue side, just to clarify for those playing along at home, on the blue side we have Team Terribly Spicy. They're running through a potential pickup, and looks like we might have the Ana, which is really good to see. Apparently, Ana might be seeing a lot more play in the near future, and that makes me smile, because I've got a soft spot for Ana, especially if she's played well.
Blue team right now going for a more point-based defense, or possibly taking one of the 2 high grounds. But Mets currently putting his shield up where generally you would see the Reinhardt and the Zarya tend to hold. Would be interesting to see, considering that if the red team decides to stick with what they have, which is a very heavy sort of damage composition, or his shield will be completely torn, and there will be no actual way for the blue team to actually get any protection aside from just hiding behind cover.
Have to wait and see how that will all pan out. The gates will open, and this licorice all sorts composition from Team Salabim. If you look through the lineup, there isn't a healer, there isn't a tank. They're going to go at it with pure, unadulterated damage. And hopefully it will all pan out for them, but when they get into the line of fire of a shield, it's going to be a lot more difficult to deal with, and perhaps it might be time to try and fall back. But there is a reply from Fishbasher. The Genji will drop the Moira and Jenniana, and it looks like he's going at it alone.
Fishbasher going in, getting 2 picks, both the supports, and with red team having spawn advantage, and with blue team having no essential actual healing, red team could possibly capitalize on this with their high DPS composition. And as I said, the device taking out 2 support players, the only one left onto the point is Hansen on that May. He uses Cryo Freeze, wall's gonna come up, he has no way but like himself, Body shoots her in the face, and surprisingly the 5 DPS composition coming out of red team is actually working and possibly gonna catch the point.
It's not silly if it works, I guess. It looks like on that first attack, we will see Team Salabim claim the first point, and they have a monstrous time bank of 6 minutes and 30 with a little bit extra And looks like Team Spicy will have to try and re-stabilize after seeing something so unorthodox and so off the wall pay off.
Meds and Hawkeye currently switching now. Hawkeye going on to that dive base main tank, going on to Winston, and Meds going on to that Genji to try and get rid of that Bastion. Meds getting taken out by the Junker and trading equally, but without any healing. Hawkeye should be able to just easily break this fairly weird no healer composition coming out of the red team. But as I said, that Doofus coming in, one of the counters, but without any healing and without any general support, Doofus is basically a sitting duck.
Poor Bonnie just getting melted, almost getting destroyed. Did get his hands on the health pack though. But Hassanen will drop the Symmetra and the teleporter that goes along with it. Mets will send the Doomfist back to respawn, and it looks like order is starting to be restored. Team Terrible Spicy are starting to find their balance and starting to whittle away the time back. That being said, Fishmasher being an absolute pest, trying to sneak a third onto the point, but Meds won't allow that. And we run down to 5 minutes 15.
Stagger coming out with the kill onto Fishmasher. Both teams having ultimates stacked up right now. Both teams having 4 ultimates, but with Crucible having that Mercy ultimate off the balcony, it has to be the deciding factor between both of these right now. Right now, Meds is just cleaning up house right now, running the dive-based defense. Everyone collapses onto one target. Meds just dashes through them, resets that dash, goes through again, getting many rounds. And Red Team's not gonna get any percentage kill with this composition right now, unless someone goes big on their team with the ultimates that they have guarded. Asian Grills switching onto that main right now, but the reasoning behind it, I just don't see it, Cyber. There's no reason for it to be a bait. And Bonnie switching off, going on to switching to McCree, now switching to actual Widowmaker, where someone on the other, when one of his other teammates already had the Widowmaker sights up and ready to use, so just wasting the ultimate right now. So nothing is gonna come after this. It's just gonna be 4 minutes of what I predict to be blue team not using the ultimates, just diving a single target, collapsing on one, 5v6, push it off, and that's about it.
It's just gonna be mere formalities at this point. The Covalescence will go out from Gianna though. An Asian girl will be promptly melted away by the Diva and Mercy, and it looks like it will be yet another hole. And perhaps seeing the play coming out from Team Terrible Spicy, Hawkeye going all the way towards the attacker's spawn. And it looks like we have a Torbjorn on deck from Asian Girl. And Bonnie is the only person to reply by getting a critical onto Meds. That may be all that we're able to muster, as the Widow has been told to make her exit.
Asian Girls right now building that turret level 2, wasting time, no apparent reason. At this point, I think they've all but given up. Might as well call the bell now and not even go to max damage.
No, it looks like they have been tilted off the face of the Earth, perhaps, and we may see the Earth spin on a different axis if we're not careful. So they're running down to 2 minutes and 35 now. There is a couple of ultimates on deck. Tridor has the, what do they call it? The shield barrier now, and the Dragon Blade from Fishmasher will be up and able to be unsheathed, but if he's dead, he can't really do that. Dead Rose is now on the Reaper. Actually, I'm finding a little bit of a satisfaction going through the constant team changes of Simsalabim. You never know what's going to come next. Another hit scan hero for Bonnie, as a matter of fact, being the McCree, and poor Dead Roses gets absolutely decimated by Mez.
Red Team should just change their name to DPS or nothing. They're not running anything else but the DPS.
Barrier does go up though. What? Hang on, what even is that? The shield barrier went up and all 3 of the turrets were right lining the front of the point. But that was not to be. There was an attempt. There was an
There
attempt,
is still
Blackburn,
much to
but
be
it
done.
didn't really amount to much. We're going into 1 minute 30. And now, what will happen next? We finally have a healer on the side of Simsalabim, but that is Asian Girl on the Lucio. Perhaps trying to go into the point, but you can't do that when you're dead. Meds will probably dispatch of him. And Fish Basher still being the best, being the absolute standout. There goes the Dragon Blade. He's been isolated though and got zapped to death by Hawkeye. And we're running down the clock. We're running down to 1 hot minute. And, well, I'd say that the defense has been holding strong, but they haven't really been contested for this entire time, if I'm being brutally honest with you.
Fish Basher's blade is, I think, what we could all call the AKM blade coming out of him, getting absolutely nothing. Taking off all time magic charge. That's on the other
Flutters
hand.
was short. Flutters took longer. If you're
This took longer, but it's called the AKM blade regardless.
Flutter Blade rolls off the tongue better, in my opinion, and it's disparaging my Dallas feel, which makes me very, very sad. Asian Girls is actually behind the entire team at the moment. Oh, if only you were a different hero that had more DPS, you'd be able to do more.
Yes, you can see Meds putting on his best Haxal impression right now, constantly getting the kills, constantly staggering the enemies, and that's all she wrote, Cyber. Another one's gonna get on the. Oh no, there is someone on the board right now. Just contesting. It's a 2v1 right now with the Pharah, but Technical Visor beats Rocket in your face, and that's about it.
Barely mere formalities. Only 1 point earned by Simsalabim. Not even a third captured on second. And now to win out this entire set and to win out this map, Team Spicy will have to get 1/3 of second. They'll have to capture the first point, obviously, but they'll only have to sit on the point for a third of the time than you would otherwise.
It's just so unfortunate that they managed to cap it with about 5-6 minutes on. If they just really just had even the most basic dive composition that everyone would know, they could have possibly capped second point or at least get 1/3 of the thing. But no, they decided to stick to that 5 DPS and just put up a pretty lackluster performance, in my opinion.
Yes, I mean, that type of composition will only work once and in very select circumstances, in my opinion. But with that being said, we are running into the attack of Team Spicy with a little bit of order restored in terms of their composition. They're sticking to what they've used pretty much all night in terms of 2 tanks, 2 supports, and 2 damage dealers. And Southspoon really liking the soldier and Hasman being the Farah in this instance.
Red team now turning the tables around instead of going entirely DPS, now going entirely all 6 tanks. And
What game am I playing? Am I playing Overwatch or World of Tanks?
this is still Overwatch, but this is basically quick play with all tank mains, and it'll be interesting to see how well they do, considering that Hansen is on that Pharah. If he just spam down, nothing to stop her except for Roadhog hooks. Drip going in for that early charge, getting the kill on the Guyana, but trading his own life with Keep having faster respawns. Yanni's gonna come back earlier, and they're basically down. Man. Man's getting the pick on Bonnie, whereas Eva got the kill. Southwood getting the kill on the Fish Basher. Hawkeye killing Triller. And blue team is, just a fairly fast camp against a team that isn't doing much and should be just an easy snowball onto the second point. Demise right now coming onto point, just basically feeding and instantly destroyed. Giving ultimates, he could have easily charged back to the point, or at least walked back, considering that blue team still has to stay on the point to actually cap it, and should be an easy snowball right now. Red team, blue team having 3 ultimates up right now with the tactical visor, with the Gravcon Surge. And Red Team currently using the Bastion trying to stall this out. What do you think, Cyber?
Oh, I think this is all sorts of strange. No Fish Basher on the Bastion. Perhaps that will get some value off. But sadly, it might not be coming to fruition. Shao Spoon will claim his first. The entire team has been bowled out. And now it is only a matter of time. That Earth Shatter is only for show. And Team Spicy will broom out Sim Sullivan in a 3-0 sweep in a dominant fashion.
Play of the game.
As you can see, Matt's not only being able to play that Orisa to a decent level, but oh, look at that headshot. Look at that headshot and the Dragon Blade to finish all off. He is definitely a Genji main cut, but this time he does not need to ask for healing. Red Team completely rage quit, and Blue Team takes a fairly easy 3-0 in the game.
Indeed, it looked like it was only, as I alluded to earlier, we only had a one-team show, and it was just Team Celebib just running roughshod. It was just them just being blacked out, and Team Spicy just running around and running amok. And it truly showed they're more together as a team and more composed, because it seemed that Team Celebim, after that change of not being aware of the entire rule set and the fact that Hammond is out of action for the foreseeable future, that might have just thrown the entire game plan off, and they decided to goof around, which is a bit of a shame, but that's neither here nor there. But that will conclude our coverage for this evening. Blackburn, thank you for your insights and your commentary. Do you have any parting words?
Hopefully Team Salabim does pick up the pieces, does try and get a better coordination, and probably have an actual team conflict next week. Or to be honest, there's no real point for having them in this actual, even though it is the amateur sort of thing. But this is just a disgrace to be called a team to run that sort of composition, to just feed, to not do absolutely anything. This is not quick play. But aside from that, the only thing I have to say left is probably the MVP, and my MVP, which I mean Mets being able to switch off both Orisa and do extremely well on that Genji on full sky. Even though the enemy team wasn't completely shutting him down, he still did a very good performance. And I think that's about it.
I'll just about do it. And fitting that he was the captain and the lobby leader in this instance. But that will conclude tonight's coverage of the Australian Amateur Overwatch League in their 4th season. My name has been Justin, aka Cyber Waste. My right-hand man has been Blackburn. My producer has been Zero Aim. Good nights, happy fragging, and be the best hero you can be.
All right, thank you very much.